Hello, so I'm doing a video because the last 3 times I typed it up and I'm just going to see if this works better with me. If I had to describe this to someone in the simplest ways, I would say that it's about Emily Bernard explaining her journey of becoming a mother, her struggles before, struggles during, and struggles after the process of her adoption. And yeah, so she broke it up into sections. This chapter, she did selfish, miracle, counterfeit, romance, holy, and bounty. I think in that order. And I don't know if this is allowed, but I have my book with me because I highlighted a few things, and I normally do that when I type it up just to like remember the important things that stood in my head. I highlighted, I thought I was supposed to want it just like I was supposed to want to get pregnant by any means. Yet I cried genuine tears when month after month I wasn't able to conceive. I felt like a failure. That stood out to me because before that little section, she talks about how she didn't want a big wedding, but she had a big wedding because that's what she thought she wanted, or like that's what people kept like pushing up on her. Like it was like the right thing to do is to want a big wedding. And she correlated that to her being pregnant because it's like she doesn't really care to conceive or be pregnant, even though she does want kids. And it's almost as if she felt bad for feeling that way, but she knows deep down in her heart that, like, she also mentioned right here, her truest self is her heart, and like that's where she knows. And that stood out because I correlated it to like society today. Like I think that everyone is changing and everyone is changing what is supposed to be normal, which is good because a lot of people try to like get stuck into what they think is normal. So that stood out to me because I think we are changing the world. And then another thing that stood out to me is when she's talking about her being at the baby shower. She mentions that she says, I handed the baby back and went into another room to cry in private. What had my daughters looked like at that age? I tried to imagine their 1-year-old faces passed onto newborn bodies and cried some more. And then I also highlighted, I hated feeling so vulnerable, but even more than that, I hated those feelings of vulnerability could be so easily triggered by a stranger. So that stood out to me because I think that's really easy to relate to. Like, for example, you could be on social media and someone could sit there and type something really mean on your picture and you don't even know these people, but like just those words are so triggering and they can really hurt. And it's the same thing as like bullying. It's like if you're bullying behind a screen and you don't really know these people, like it still hurts, you know. You don't have to know the person to like feel hurt by what they said. So that really stood out to me. I mean, the fact that she like mentioned that it was frustrating to feel that way when it was just a stranger that said it. Also, another part that stood out to me was when her friend, I don't know if it was one friend or 2 friends, but made comments. One comment was, look at those breasts that never nursed. Another comment was, well, they're not genetically yours, so at least you know it's not your fault. And then there was another comment. I can't find it, but that stood out to me because after those comments, she wrote, both times I was caught completely by surprise, stunned by how quickly ordinary activities changing clothes and idle conversations with a friend transformed into emotional landmines. That reminded me of her previous chapter where she would talk about her marriage, how she just wanted to talk about the marriage and like normal things in the marriage, but it would always lead to someone saying or like trying to correlate it with like her being black and her husband being white, like, oh, because this, or like, but like no, like she just wanted to talk about her marriage, like it had nothing to do with like their relationship and with their race. It had nothing to do with that, and people kept trying to do that. So that stood out to me because it's exactly like this, where she just wants to talk about having her kids and people have to keep reminding her like, oh hey, like you're not their biological mother, like you adopted them. So that was really interesting to me. I also liked where she mentioned, I have the same feelings about adoption as I do about zebras, in whose astonishing, majestic presence I think this must be God at work. I like that because I feel like some people would probably sit there and be like, what? Like you're comparing pregnancy to a zebra, but I mean, she did a great job. Like, I think it was cool, but I feel like some people would kind of be a little kind of weirded out by it. And I'm trying to see if I had anything. Well, I guess the last part, I really enjoyed the part where she put, as they grow older, questions about their past will not only be the ones I won't be able to answer. They will come upon other mysteries in their lives, and I will encourage them to view the mysteries of life as vitalizing and not crippling. So I just thought that was interesting because, I mean, as you grow older, we do have a lot of questions, and I think that it's nice for her to sit there and talk about how, even though something seems very scary or you want to be scared about it, she wants to help them view it as, like, not scary. And it's cool, though, because they know they're adopted since... She said that they know that they're adopted since they were capable of, like, knowing or, like, processing things, I guess. And it's like when they're young, I guess those were the few questions that they had for her, but now as they're getting older, they're going to have more questions. But yeah, so sorry, I'm looking at the, like, diet thing. Evaluation, did you like it? So I really enjoyed this chapter. I thought it was really interesting. It was very short and sweet, but I mean, I think she did a great job. But yeah, thank you.